I'm so excited today. We're going to work with beads that have big holes plus wire. Oh, look who decided to join us today. Fantastic. Let's make sure that I can see everyone. You can definitely see Alfred there, right? So yes, Alfie, everyone is so glad to see you. All right, let's make room for the cat then. Let's do it. Come on, baby. There we go. What a good boy. You just lay right here like a good kitty. And I will make sure I can see you all. No, don't chew on the wire. That's what happens when we're live with a kitty cat. Well, it's great to have you all here today. Gita is on as Beadshop over on our Facebook feed. And I've got you guys coming up on our YouTube channel. There we go. Now I can see everybody. There we are. Great. It's just us. There's just Alfred and I. There he is. I should put the camera down so you guys can see him. There he is. Alfie, can you see? Can you see everybody over here? Well, you'll see him when I turn the camera around. Let me make sure that I can see everyone. Whoops, except the camera's moving a little bit, and I'm a little crooked here, but that's all right. I can see myself here. No, on Fridays, as you guys know, Fridays is always fun. It's always the Wild West on Free Tip Friday because, you know how it goes. That it is. There he is. Let's push the camera back just a little bit, and maybe you can see the baby too. There he is. There's cat ears in my, but I'd have to do the broadcast like this. So let me just fix this, and you guys will see Alfred when you see him. There we go. That's better. There we are. You guys will see the kitty cat soon. Okay, so it's great to see everybody here and everybody jumping in, which is great to see everyone. Awesome. Yes, Alfred is here. He's here. He's ready. It's great to see you. I see a lot of new people jumping in, which is great. I saw someone jump in from Newcastle, which is great. My husband's favorite football team, right? Newcastle. Hopefully they'll do well this year. We've just British soccer has just started, so we're big fans in our household. So hello to Newcastle. It's great to have you. Okay, so, and Alfred just jumped off. So he'll be back, of course, as always. So it's great to see you. Though, Maureen, I'm having trouble seeing your comments on our feed. I saw your Newcastle comment, but now I'm missing the rest of your comments. But and I'm not sure why. I'm trying to fix it over here on my end, but I can't. So it's great to have you, even though I can't see your comments. It's great to have you there. Okay, so and they may come through. Let me just try and do this real quick so I can see. Yeah, I'm not sure, Maureen. You may want to log out and log back in, and then maybe I can see your comments. But I know you're there, which is great. So hello to Over the Pond, to all of our people worldwide, which is fantastic. It's great to have everybody here. It's my favorite thing, my favorite Friday activity, as always, is to see everybody. I love how people are chiming in for their favorite football teams. It's great. Or as we say here in the U.S., soccer, but it's great. So it's great to have everybody. And I'm also, so many of you, it was great. So many of you jumped in and got your Alfie mug. I was trying to get a picture of Alfie sitting here with his mug, but he might cooperate. You never know. It might be good. So if you want one, if you missed it, I should have pulled it up before. But it's our Society 6 store. I put in a couple of items. One that Janice did, the I'm the Boss of My Beads, is on some things. And then you can also find the Alfie merchandise. No one has jumped in and bought the Alfie wallpaper yet, thank goodness. I guess that's a good thing, I don't know. But I'll put it in the chat so you guys can see it. If you do want an Alfie mug, it's there. And we do get, Beadshop does get the benefit from it. There we go. Oh, good, great. There's Maureen. I see you. Yes, from Newcastle. Yes, great. It's good to have you. I see you, Maureen. Great. Good, good, good. Let me see if I can get that that link for you guys to put over. There we go. The Society 6 is going there, and let me see if I can drop it into. Though Gita may beat me on that one. There we go. On this, there's the link. I think I can get the link in there. Yep, great. Okay, it's there. Perfect. Oh, see, Gita, you beat me to it already. Perfect. Well, it is great to have everybody here. And yeah, the purchases on Society 6, it's our store, so we do get a percentage. They come right here to Beadshop. So it's kind of cool. So it's great. So thank you so much for supporting it. I need to get myself an Alfred tote bag because they're pretty cute, I think. So so there it is. So it's great to have all of you guys here. As I said, we are ready for Beadshop Live. Today, I'm going to work with my favorite thing. We're going to work with a hammer, right? We haven't done any hammering lately. We haven't bench blocked lately, right? I've got that. And we've got large hole beads. So those of you who got your who opened your newsletter this morning and grabbed the big hole pearls, but never fear. I always hate putting in a limited supply of anything because I hate to disappoint anyone when we don't have enough to go around. But I just got my order in today. I got a box full of big hole pearls, and the colors are amazing. Some are more limited than others because with freshwater pearls, you guys, like anything, especially with those freshwater pearls, I'm a super stickler for quality when it comes to freshwater pearls. There could be really amazing freshwater pearls, not so amazing, but I want the best quality at the best price. That's what and that's what you want too, right? So I have a big box of them that we're going to be launching again in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned to the newsletter. I think you're really going to love them. But those of you who grabbed them today, you're not going to be disappointed. The girls are bagging them up. You get them in a little nice organza bag. Just tore them in, and they're just gorgeous. So we'll send those out. Again, if you've missed it, I'm sorry. We sold out really fast today, but there'll be more in. So don't worry. You'll have plenty of time to get pearls when they come back in. I promise. I promise. So I have gotten. So I thought with big hole pearls, what I like to do is they're perfect for wire work, especially heavy gauge wire. And if you guys know me, and if you know how much I like working with metal and wire, you know that 16 gauge wire is kind of my spirit animal, especially 16 gauge in bare copper. Though here at beadshop.com, we carry a variety of 16 gauge. We're going to be adding some of the heavier gauges as well, but 16 gauge is the heaviest that we have right now. 16 gauge is great to work with, and in the bare copper, it's dead soft. If you'll notice, I have an extra large spool because I use it so much that I buy it in a little bit of a larger bulk. And if you do want larger spools, let me know. I can get them for you. You just have to email us to let us know you'd like them. So I pulled a variety of beads that have big holes, and I'm going to show you some tricks with the hammer and the bench block that I think you're going to love. And Danielle, I want to mention again, I'm wearing your amazing earrings, and 1, and 2, I haven't forgotten your ear wires. Notice they still have the originals on there. I am finishing up a super secret project that's going to finish up in the next week or so that you guys will see, which is going to be great. But then I'll have a little more bench time to have fun things as well. So I promise your ear wires are going out to you. Okay, so let me turn this camera around and let's get started because I want to do some hammering for you. Okay, and I know that you want to see me do some hammering. So I'm going to jump up, turn this around, and get this show on the proverbial road. So with big hold beads, you know, big hold beads are kind of tough to find sometimes. And the hole size can vary in your beads a lot, especially if they're semi-precious beads. So we have kind of curated, though I know curated is a word that sometimes is overused nowadays, but we have kind of jumped in and tried to find the best of the large hold beads for you. I'm going to put the camera up kind of tall today, so it gives me plenty of room to wield that hammer. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. So I pulled from our stock. Not only did we have a brief and shining moment with those pearls, we'll have more of those pearls in soon. All right. They're coming. They're coming. More of them will be in. And I've got my pearls here. Let me talk real quickly first about, let me move this down a little bit. You can see a little bit of the background stuff here, you guys, so sorry about that. And I don't know if she's jumped on yet, but I wanted to say a big happy birthday to my dear mama. So many of you have gone on to the Beadshop bead table and wished her a happy birthday already. But happy birthday, mama, to you. And I'm sure that you're on there. I know Facebook, I'm sorry you guys, it seems like Facebook is not, the viewing is not as great. Our YouTube channel, though, is coming in loud and clear, so don't worry about it. Sometimes it works for you, great, and sometimes not. Sometimes with Facebook, if you go out and then come back in, it helps a little bit. But it will be on both Facebook and YouTube for you guys to watch, you know, in your at your leisure. So let's talk a little bit about the tools that I have here, right? And this, yes, is a tool. It is my precious, I keep this Gita, this is from Gita, it's a nail file from Denmark that she sent me. I keep it on my workbench, I love it, and I use this all the time as a tool. You can see it's gotten a little scratched up on this side, but you're going to need a good nail file, and you know, kind of one of these smushy ones. It doesn't have to be from Denmark, but it always helps that it does. Right? You're going to need a bench block. You're going to need a chasing hammer, both of which we carry here on beadshop.com. You're going to need a really good pair of flush cutters. These Xuron cutters, and you can see I've got two here because I love them so much. I'll put this one aside. The Xuron flush cutter, this one is the Max Shear, and I love it. These Xuron tools are made right here in Maine, USA. And it's a real workhorse. The ones that I have in my tool bin have been used and abused by my students for years. So it really holds up. So it's a great wire cutter, very economical. And if you do cut heavy gauge wires, I cut these up to 10 gauge wire with these 10 gauge soft wire. Do not cut memory wire with this. We have a special memory wire cutter that you cut up with, the cutters to cut with memory wire. I'm just looking at Gita's chatted here. She said she's going to send nail files from Denmark to all of us, which is great. No, I love them. It's great. Now I see over here, and you guys do, if you do want to inquire about these big, email me, or you can also email Drea. It's probably a better idea, DreaInfo@beadshop.com. I'll get a price for them, and if you guys want them in the bulk, I'll get them in. The Parawire is also U.S. made. It's made right in East Orange, New Jersey, and the quality is excellent on their wires. So they're really, really good. I also see some of you, Erica, I see you, that is saying you've got lots of copper to try to create with. You're still very new, so you're a bit afraid. You know what, you guys? It's one of my rules of metalworking, and if you have my metalworking book, my first book, Simple Soldering, there's some wisdom sprinkled throughout. And one of my top 10 tips for metalworking is never let the metal see your fear. Okay, that's really important. I always say this about beads: you're the boss of your beads. You are also the boss of your metal. Okay, so it will, and copper wire is inexpensive, and I want you to practice with wild abandon. Okay, so just get yourself some good, inexpensive, dead soft copper wire, and just make and make and make, and your muscle memory will start to get in the swing of it before you know it. Okay, so I'm going to tighten things up right here, and I'm going to get the beads that we're going to be working with. So let me put my chasing hammer up here. Let's put our little file from Gita right there. Let's move our bench block over. Oh, and I just wanted to show you guys what I have here. Remember these from back in the day? This is just a mouse pad. It's a round black one because I got it at IKEA. It might even still have the tag on the back. It doesn't, but I use these in my classes when people are hammering because it dampens the noise. Okay, so when you're hammering, or if you live in close quarters, or if you have neighbors or whatever, this will help to dampen the noise. We also have really great silver wire. We have silver plate wire, which is also very beautiful. I'm a big fan of putting things together in what do I want to say? Practice pieces or whatever in copper, so then you can kind of replicate that in your silver and not worry about making mistakes. I always say that with practice, and this is how I do it in my metalsmithing book, I have you make samplers, little practice pieces from copper. So you're just working with the copper. You're not worried so much about, the expense of the metal or whatever, and you're just playing around and creating. And I feel that that's the fastest way to creating the muscle memory in your hands. Okay, so I've got some large hole beads. We have a whole bunch of large hole beads, okay? And I'm going to get in kind of nice and tight here so you guys can see it. I grabbed one of the precious large holed pearls that I may actually even have to put back. I think I have one extra. This is the only one I can work with because we've already sold them out. But this size, I don't have, my calipers are sitting on my desk. They're actually not sitting in here, but they are about, I'll tell you, about a little over 15 millimeters hole to hole by almost maybe about 18 millimeters side to side, like this, right? And the whole size will accommodate a 1.5 millimeter leather. I see Kayla from Dakota Stones watching. Yes, these are our beautiful Z beads that also have large holes, so I brought them by. This is a great thing to do with large hole beads. I did this a few Facebook Lives ago. I'm trying to remember when it was, but we made tassels, which was a lot of fun. And this tassel here is made with the Ceylon, and the Ceylon I straightened. You guys might remember this, if I can pull it in here. I straightened it with my little tiny hair straightener, right? And so it made the tassel legs really nice and even. But something like this, these large hole beads here that are just so gorgeous, you could do a stack of them over a tassel top, so it would be great. So you can check out that whole broadcast on our Facebook Live. I know that Gita will pull it up. Let me see. It's a few Facebook Lives ago, and it was fun. It was really fun to make. So So this one here is what I did with that. So tassels are great with large hold beads. We also have a variety of different large hold beads here. These guys, again, these are 8mm. And again, look at the hole size on these, you guys. I don't know, can you see them? They're really, really great for leather. And for leather cord, I think just a simple bead like this slid on the cord, I think looks fantastic. I'm going to grab a piece of cord real quick before we get to the leather. And I want to show you, let me see if I can grab one here. Bear with me here just a second while because I saw one across the way, so I'm going to grab it. When you're tying a knot, and you guys have seen me do this before, right? And Kayla's telling me, oh, Cara peeped in. Oh, look, oh, I'll take that one. Cara's so smart. Look at what she did. You know what? Would you also get me one more thing? I'm sorry. Fine line chain, please. Please and thank you. So Kayla's saying that the holes in these guys are 2.5mm, which is great. So you could get up to our 2mm leather. And you guys, you can find my book. I see a couple of you asking. I do, the book is on our website at beadshop.com, or you can also find it on Amazon or any craft store. It's out there all over the place. My first book is called Simple Soldering, and my second book is called Metalsmithing Made Easy. And if you just search Kate Richburg on Amazon, it'll come up, or of course we have it here at Beadshop, and you get a little, I'll sign it for you. That's there for you. So this is, I think, 1.5mm. So let me show you this knot, okay? I'm gonna show you this before we get to wire, because some of you are new and may not have seen me do this. I have, you know, I feel like the color is a little funky. I think it's because it started with that big black, the mouse pad. Let me see if I can hair lighter here. Bear with me here, you guys, just a second. Let me see here. I'm going to hit the brightness, go up just a little bit brighter. That might be a little bit better. Let me know what you think about this. And maybe that's, I think, better. All right. Sorry about that. I think when I started, it kind of, you know, the camera corrected for the big black mouse pad and then didn't get back quite the way it should. All right, that doesn't look too bad though, right? You guys can see pretty well. Okay, thanks for bearing with me. And I think there's an Alfie hair somewhere on this. There we go. That I want to get rid of. Alrighty, so here's the knot. 1.5mm leather, like so. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and make my loop, right? I'm going to go through that loop once, and I'm going to go through that loop twice. Okay? And I pull it tight. Now see how, as I'm pulling it, how the knot wants to go into like a little figure 8? Okay? Like that. Tighten, tighten, tighten. That little figure 8, those loops are going to come together. And see how I have a knot that has two little lines sitting next to each other and one that's crossed. So it's a nice simple knot. And notice how my thread, my cord, runs through the center of that knot. Okay? If I tie it just once like this, see how the thread bends. But when you do that double knot, the thread doesn't bend. Okay? Now I'm going to put on my bead. And look, it slides on just perfectly, that pearl. And I'm going to tie it once, go through twice, and just slide that knot up. There we go. That's it. That's all she wrote. So if you're doing those like pearl float necklaces on leather, it works out really, really well. I'm also going to kind of lift. That also might be a little bit better. Sorry, the lighting is a little weird today, and I'm not sure why it's so, but that might be a little bit better. Again, I'm my own filming person today, so thanks for bearing with me. Free Tip Friday is always a little fast and loose, so that's the fun of it for sure. So with large hole beads, I also brought these Sunset Demortite, these guys right here, okay? And these guys also have a big hole. They're finely faceted. They are gorgeous. So it's a good stand-in. If you didn't get the big hole pearls and you want something that's semi-precious that has a big hole, these guys are great. I also, for those of you who don't do leather, and some of you don't do leather, which is perfectly cool, we do have surfer cord. And we have surfer cord in a lot of different colors, and it wears really beautifully. So you can find that right here on beadshop.com as well. Oh, you know what? The Alfie hair wasn't on the table. It's on my screen. There we go. All right. There wasn't the Alfie hair on the table. It was on my screen of my phone. That's funny. So you can do that same knot with the Sunset Demortite. Okay, I'm going to clip this away because I want to, well, maybe I'll just leave it here and I'll work with these guys because the hole is the same size. Okay. So the other beads that we have that have big holes, like I said, we have these semi-precious guys. We have them in a faceted rondelle and the 8mm. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like that knot trick. I'm so stoked. I'm really glad that it's good. And you haven't been making knots wrong. It's just a different way of making them, right? It's a Kate way. I've been doing these knots. Whoops, the light just fell. Live broadcast. That's okay. We can still see pretty well, I think, right? Sorry about that. So it's just a different way. It's just a double overhand knot that I do. I've got lots of knotting tricks for you guys. If you love knots, go to our Facebook Live list and you'll see me do a whole bunch of knots on previous Free Tip Fridays. It's a lot of fun. I love to do knot work with it. Okay, so I've also got some other large hole beads. I've got our roller beads. These are check glass rollers, and I know that some of you guys are big fans of the rollers like I am. We have a lot of roller beads in stock in beautiful colors. Let me put them on my awl so you guys can see it. I just grabbed them right before the broadcast, but I grabbed the fuchsia and silver, and then this gold line, which are gorgeous. I love them, love them. So these are really great, and you can see they fit all the way on my awl. The hole size in these are really, really generous. I would say probably about a 4mm hole almost in these. Okay, so it's good. Then I also brought these king size shadows, and again I'll put it here on my awl. You can see how far it goes up. These king shadows are great. Lots of big holes. They're kind of hollow on the inside, so sometimes they're a little hard to poke through, but with a little perseverance, you can get it. Okay, and then something that I think you guys know of, but sometimes I don't always, I go past them and I love it. It's one of my favorite beads. This one's called Sahara Sands. It's from our Tribal and Trade collection. And see how big the hole is in these guys as well? They're so good. I just love them. So that's the Sahara Sands there. Okay. A lot of our Tribal and Trade beads have big holes. Okay. So the big holes work, I think, really nicely with all these cords. And these are brass, these guys. These are brass. This is the natural brass that it comes in. And then these are silver plate right here. And then these are also the natural brass here. These roller beads, these are check glass. Beautiful colors. Okay. So I see that Marcia bought the Alfie mug. Oh my gosh, you're going to love them, I think. They're really good. Lori, you're asking about the faceted beads. These are called, let me see if I can find them over on Beadshop. They're called demorterite, I think. Demorterite. And it is, if I find them here, where are they? Maybe under faceted. Let me see. Demorterite. Yep, we call them sunset demorterite. Okay, you guys, or no, we call them faceted demorterite. Sorry, and they are 10 millimeter. These guys here, and they come in bags of 8 beads. Okay, that's how these come. All right. And again, if you guys are having trouble with the video over on Facebook, jump over to the YouTube feed. Facebook, I think, they throttle sometimes the video if too many people are broadcasting all at one time. And they also compress the quality sometimes, so the quality isn't always as great. But sometimes you get great reception, sometimes you don't. So you can always jump over to the YouTube feed as well. All right, well, is it time to hammer? I think it's time to hammer. Let's get this show on the road, okay, hammer-wise. So I'm going to bring back I'm going to kind of put it kind of to the side. It might screw with the color again, but I'll just put it there. You guys can see okay, I think, right? And Denise is saying she wished that pony beads came in a lot of glass and metal. You know, these are really pony bead-like, Denise. And they are glass, but they're very reminiscent of pony beads. They have that same size hole and stuff. And they're just so good. And Pony Express, they also have the big holes. That's right. So I love a good large hole bead. Oh, and Cara also brought this. I wanted to show you before I start hammering. This is our fine line chain, and many of you know and love this chain like I do. I'm a big fan of vintage pieces as well. I know you guys, a lot of you know that, how much I love the vintage jewelry. You guys can, when you get your vintage jewelry pieces, a lot of times, especially with crystal, you see crystal is strung on what they call foxtail chain a lot of times. That is exactly what this fine line chain is as well, okay? And this fine line you can thread through many of our large hold beads. And you could string your necklace just on chain, just like that. Have a single bead dangling, multiple beads dangling. The pearl would be beautiful hanging off this fine line. Of course, this large mortarite right here. Look at how beautiful it looks. So this is our chain that we called fine line. Okay, so we love it. We love it. And it comes in a lot of different finishes. This is our silver, but we have it in all the flavors that we carry. All right. Hammer time. Now, I have not practiced. I have not picked up a hammer in a few days, so bear with me, okay? Here is my 16 gauge. Now, I also pulled my nylon jaw plier, and the nylon jaw plier helps me straighten everything out. So see how I'm working 2 angles, right? I turn it and straighten, turn it and straighten. Okay, and that's going to straighten my 16 gauge wire. This is just the simple nylon jaw plier. Sometimes we call it our wire straightener, but it clamps the wire nicely and smooths everything out. Note that every time you kind of touch your wire, right? Or work your wire on with your pliers or whatever, it starts to work harden. Okay, so this is dead soft wire, all right? And so it will work harden as I go along. I'm going to get a little tighter in here so you guys can really see what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in, again, this is 16 gauge here, okay? And so I'm cutting with my flush cutter here, my Maxi Shear Xeron cutter. And this is the flush side of your tool, okay, where the heads come together like this, okay? The non-flush side is where the heads come together in a V. So if I want a straight across flush cut, I cut with this end of the plier or the cutter pointing towards my wire, okay? So I'm going to come in and I'm going to clip, and I'm going to visually try and line up the wire coming out at a right angle from the head of the cutter, okay? And I'm going to clip, and I have my finger over this piece of wire here, so when I cut it, that piece of wire doesn't fly out and hit me or Alfred or you guys in the head, okay? So I'm going to come in and bring my wire down, and you guys are asking about the finding for that chain. We do have it. It's called our fold over crimp, I think. If Cara's watching, I bet she'll bring a fold over crimp in before the end of the show, and I'll show you. Okay, so here's my 16 gauge, and I'm going to start by planishing or flattening out just a little bit of an end on that 16 gauge. Now I'm going to be hammering, so it might be a little loud on your broadcast, so be aware we're going to hear some pounding. Okay, so here I go to hammer. Chasing hammer, bench block, 16 gauge wire. Now notice, you guys, as I strike my wire, I'm striking and pulling, okay? That little motion is called planishing. I don't know if I can get in any closer, but you can see how my wire now is starting to flatten. You see that? And notice how my flush cut, since I made a nice straight across cut, there's not a little pointy end on there. It looks pretty nice, okay? So let me put this down, and I'm going to continue to planish. And you're going to draw the hammer in the direction that you want your wire to move. If I'm moving my wire around, I'm going to move my wire. I'm not going to move my hammer. My hands are safely off the side of the bench block here, so I don't have any danger of striking my fingers. And if I keep my wire, you know, if I move my wire and make my wire meet the head of my plier or the head of my hammer instead of moving my hammer all over the block, I know where my hammer is going to be striking, so I'm not worried about hitting my fingers with the hammer. And so now you can see how I've really got a nice paddle on the end of that wire. Look at how nice. Now this is where Gita's precious Denmark file comes in. Okay, and you can use your regular metal files if you have metal files or whatever for this too. But I'm just going to come in and I'm going to file. Let me make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to file. Let's see, I want this end. The edge. I want you guys to be able to see it. There we go. Can you see that? How it's nice and filed up, like so. Great. I'm going to grab a jump ring here because a jump ring is a vital part of what we're going to be doing with this connection. So let me grab one here real quick for you. But the hammering for that project, hammering that wire, you can hammer it as thin or as thick, I guess, as you want it to be, depending on how much taper you want to happen on your wire. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do here with this end. I'm going to get my round nose plier, and I'm going to come in with the skinny end of my round nose. And can you see that very nice curve that I've created? Okay, I've made, and if you planish it more, further down, further down, further down, it will, you know, you can curl it even more. So yeah, the beautician's files for acrylic nails, that's kind of what this is. It might be a little bit lighter, but you can find nail files in a lot of different grits. I have them on my workbench for sure. So see how I'm just centering that little curve I've made? Can you see that there? Now I'm going to put a bead that has a big hole. I would put a pearl, but we're out of them now. So I'm going to use this guy here. Okay, and I'm going to planish the end of the wire, and I'm just going to guess at how much I need, because this is just my practice piece. I'm just going to guess how much I need for the other end. So let me see. I'm going to say, I'm going to cut I think I'm going to cut about 2.5 inches. Right here. Let's see what that looks like, okay? Clip again with my flush end. Now, there's a burn mark on my pad here, but let's cover it with that bench block. Now I'm going to hang the the bead off the end. Okay? And I've got maybe about I don't know, is that an inch? What did I say I left? 2.5 inches? I don't think that's right. No, I was looking at millimeters. Sorry. I left about an inch. Okay? So I'm going to slide a little bit off the end, and I'm going to hammer. I'm going to make this one a little bit longer so we can curl it up a little bit more. Okay? And when you're hammering, you guys, I want you to have really light, controlled strokes when you hammer, okay? We are not building a house. We are making jewelry. So let the hammer do the work. Let the hammer just fall on the metal. Repeated blows. Don't drive the hammer into the bench block like you're pounding in a nail, okay? We're just gonna let that hammer planish this metal down. You're in control of that. And my bead and my fingers are safely off the side of the bench block. Okay, so you're not going to worry about hitting your fingers. There we go. And I've hammered out just a little bit more of this. Okay, right? And Erica's also asking, can filing remove light tool marks? It sure can. That's exactly how you remove them. So if there are marks on your wire, or you can get really fine gauge sandpaper to do that with as well. But I'm going to file my end really nicely. There we go. And can you see, well, it's almost there. If this hole was a little bit smaller and the bead went down, you know, and kind of did a stopper with the hole, it would be a nice little paddle also for a head pin as well. Okay, that's a way you can do them. So I've curled this curl up this way, so I'm going to curl this one in the opposite direction. Let me get a little bit tighter so you guys can see. Let me find my round nose plier and let me curl it. Tip of my plier right here and curl it around. And I'm just going to see how I firmly but gently hold that wire, and I'm going to curl it just a little bit more. But I like asymmetry, so I'm really okay with this. Let's make sure that's nice and round. Round that up so it looks nice. There we go. So see, I'm going to put it down. Maybe I'll put it in my hand. It'll be easier for you guys to see. I can bring it up to you. Can you see that okay? Let me get it in the camera. Right? Pretty cool, I think. Now, if I want, and I do, I'm going to get a 6mm. Also, what would look great, I don't have them here in the Facebook room, but we have those jump rings on the website that have the little designs in them, right? The little, what are they called? I will look. They are called, I thought about them earlier, but I didn't grab them. But they are the coil jump rings that we carry, and they are delish. They would look really nice with this. So if I'm going to connect it to something, I'm going to just get my plier, chain nose in one hand, bent chain nose in the other, open it up, put that guy on there that I've made, and I can connect all of these components together. Okay? Let me get a little tighter in there. Now there's other things that you can do with your heavy gauge. Let's make another couple of components, shall we? We've got a few more minutes. I'm going to text Cara to see if she'll bring that fine line finding over there. I'm laughing because Karen just texted me, and you know what she texted me? She said, "Your cat likes beef jerky." Yes, it is true. Alfred loves, so Karen and Alfred are back in Karen's office working on photos and eating beef jerky. Sounds like a perfect Friday activity to me. And I'm texting Cara, clasp for the chain, please. Please and thank you. There we go. I bet she'll see that. Alrighty, so let me make another couple of components for you. Continuing on with our 16 gauge, this one will blow your mind. I think you'll like this, and it's also good for a big hold bead. And you guys have seen me do this before. Some of you have, but I'm gonna show you. I'll show you. And Kim is saying you could wrap a little wire on both sides. Yeah, to fill in the space, you bet. You could just have it also move around. I'm a big fan of kind of kinetic things that move around, which is cool. Let me make, just real quick, I'm going to make two more components. There she is, that Cara. I said for sure you'd see it. Thanks, Cara. I'll show you guys those in just a second. No, I have right here. Or it'll be close enough. I'm not going to put it on. I'll just show them. I'm going to make my favorite thing, which is a little spiral. And I've got some wire shows, you guys, slated for September. I know you guys want wire, and I want wire. I haven't done wire in a long time. So I am working on some samples that are going to be for Facebook Lives in September. I think I've got 2 wire shows coming up, so you can do it, or I can do it, but they'll be here. So I've done that nice spiral. I can't believe I grabbed the mouse pad with the burn. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of distracting. There we go. I'll put it to the side. Now I'm just going to come in, hammer that spiral down. Flip. There we go. Look at how nicely shaped that spiral is. Okay. Now I'm going to just come in and with my thumb shape that wire a little bit. Okay. And put this large hold bead on, and let me, I don't know how much I want to clip. I'm going to clip that away. Get my tip of the plier with the end of my wire. See how sometimes with heavy gauge wire, I hold my, let me make this a little bit bigger. I hold my hand stationary like this, right? Then I'll move, this is my right hand that's holding the tool. With my left hand, I start to curve the wire, and with my right hand, I also curve the tool. So both of my hands are working with each other to move this heavy gauge. Because if you have achy hands, and sometimes I do, sometimes my hands aren't all they should be, use both sides, both hands, and it'll lend some more strength. Okay, so see how I've just made a nice spiral on the other side. Now let's planish that down. Planish, flatten, you know, just a fancy metalsmithing word is all. So we're going to hammer that down. Again, light taps, and aim with the center of the hammer. Aim at the center. Try not to go to the side and to the side to leave tool marks. Okay? You can flip it over a little bit. Hold it off the edge of that bench block, so you don't strike your fingers or the bead. Okay? Now, where'd that ring go? Here's that jump ring. Let's open it up. Let's connect this side. Now, your practice pieces like these, you guys, just with wild abandon, all right? Don't do like I'm doing here. And it's obvious that I did not prep at all today, right? But I urge you to work with no agenda. Play around with no agenda and just continue to link your pieces together. This is the first one we did. Here's the second one we did. Just link and link and link. And from your first one to your last one, you will definitely see improvement. Again, you know, the base metal wire is very inexpensive. So don't worry, you know, about wasting material. You've got to warm up and practice to get that muscle memory going. Okay, so there are those two guys here. I'm going to show you one more thing with the big hole bead. I think you guys will like it. It works especially if you have a heavier necklace, and some of you have seen me do this before, but I'm just going to do this real quick in Kate time, and then I'm going to show you how to close that chain, and then our weekends will begin. Okay, so round nose plier, right? Remember that round nose pliers, it's your round nose that makes round loops, okay? Your chain nose, or in your bent chain nose, those are grippers for gripping the wire back and forth, right? Or opening jump rings. So round nose, I'm gonna conform that wire to the head of my tool to make a nice round loop. And it looks kind of like a little P, right? You can see that there over to the side. Now I'm going to come in with the fat part of my round nose plier, like that, okay? And I'm going to just come in and I'm going to shape this to form a hook. Now you could use, if you had a pen or a pencil, sometimes I do that. Here's my little pencil right here. If I wanted a loop that was maybe a little bit bigger, right, I could form it around my pencil like that. But I have a really nice now hook clasp. This works beautifully on necklaces that are heavier. Okay, I'm going to come in and file that tip. There we go. And get my plain chain nose and push that in. All right, so now let's hammer it. Okay, let's hammer the top. Like so. See that there? I'm going to flip it, hammer the back, I'm going to flatten the loop a little bit and just a little the tip of that clasp. Okay, and you can see this will really show how that hammering, see how that hammering has really tempered this wire? Okay, see how this isn't moving, it's not going anywhere. I could push it closed a little bit more like that, but it is a nice solid piece. Some of you may have a tumbler at home, right? You could toss these in your tumbler for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, and that tumbler will help burnish and work harden. There's a question, Beverly has a question about what do you use to seal your copper. So sometimes, you guys, I seal, and sometimes I don't. It just depends. I like how copper naturally patinas, and so sometimes I just leave it as is. I'm going to put it on this side. You can, however, there are a lot of commercially available sealants. We don't carry them on Beadshop, but we do, but you can find them commercially. I use a matte spray fixative. You can find it like at any of the big box craft stores. It's a matte, or you can get a semi-matte or semi-gloss, whatever, finish. I have those, some light sprays on those. I do those with my bracelets and cuffs, sometimes I do. Or there is a product called Protect-A-Clear. And Protect-A-Clear, if you do a internet search for Protect-A-Clear, a lot of jewelry artists use Protect-A-Clear for their pieces. And I do, especially when I'm protecting my, if I do like a patina, like a verdigris patina or something like that, I'll use Protect-A-Clear. Protect-A-Clear I either apply with a sponge, like a makeup sponge, or a sponge brush, because I need to throw those things away after I use it. Protect-A-Clear is great, and there's some, you can find some demos and stuff about Protect-A-Clear, but it's great. And again, it is specifically made for jewelry and for metal. It's very long wearing, and I use it a lot. Caveat, you want to use it in a well-ventilated area. You want to make sure you're wearing gloves and safety glasses, but it is what the jewelry artists use, Protect-A-Clear. But also go to your big box store or your art store if you have an art store. Get some spray fixative, either in matte, semi-gloss, or gloss if you want. And what I do when I spray, overspray my pieces, I'll put them outside, I do it outside, and I spray, like if I had the can here, I'd go spray across. And then I do another light spray across, and I let it dry. Then I do it again, spray, let it dry, like 20 minutes or however long it takes, and do it like a third time. So you're building up really thin layers, and it works great. Okay, and the gems, now, you know, with these guys, the Protect-A-Clear, I mean, I wouldn't dip them in Protect-A-Clear. I would do the components probably first. But this, you know, I might spray it. The matte fixative is not gonna probably, if it's matte, it will take the shine down a little bit. But you could also just spray the components as well. Okay. And Marilyn is asking about Renaissance wax. I also use Renaissance wax, but I use it to kind of enhance the luster of the metal rather than it being a really super effective way to keep tarnish down. I know it's kind of hard to that's kind of a weird thing to say, but Renaissance wax, or any wax like floor wax, that's been used by metalsmiths for decades to wax your pieces. Way back in the day, 30 years ago, I used Johnson's floor wax for that. You put the wax on your piece, you let it sit, and then you buff it in. And it gives such a really nice soft sheen to the surface. So I love it too, and I use it sometimes on big pendants, things like that. Something like this wire, I think it's easier to deal with a spray fixative. Okay, and you can also use it on silver. Any non-ferrous metals, you guys will take these non-tarnish methods. Okay, let me end by showing you the clasp for this chain that we talked about earlier. This is our fine line chain. It's right here, and if I had a bead, I'll just get a bead. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Here's my bead. The crimp is called fold over crimp, okay? And the fold over crimp looks like this. Okay, can you see that? I'll get kind of tight. We have them on our website. They're small. You lay the chain in, and then you get your chain nose plier and you just crimp it down, fold it over. That's all there is to it. Then this crimp, the fine line crimp, the fold over crimp rather, can you see how it has a loop there? You can connect it to any clasp you like. I would use the oval jump ring for it. I think we've got a 4mm oval jump ring that works beautifully, and you could just connect it to any clasp you like. And that's what I would do. Okay. And what I would do, Linda's asking Protect-A-Clear for stones. Like, let's say, let me jump back for a second. So you guys have seen this. This is the clasp for the fine line. Like this ring that I made here. Okay, it's sterling. If I wanted to hit it with Protect-A-Clear, and I've already set the stone in, I would get a really fine, like, sponge brush, or even a Q-tip I would do. And I would paint on a very fine layer. And Protect-A-Clear is self-leveling if you don't use a lot, right? So if I were doing the back here, I'd get my sponge brush, or I'd get my little piece of sponge, or I'd get my Q-tip, and I'd just paint it on where I want it, paint it on there, put it aside very carefully, probably in the sun, let it dry. Then I do the side, right? Side, let it dry. And I do that a couple of times. So that's how I do use Protect-A-Clear when I have stones in my piece. But thin coats for anything that you're going to do this, you guys, several thin coats rather than one heavy coat. And I would also make a practice piece for your patina, right? Just do a little practice tile or something and practice with your sealants so you don't wreck one of your good pieces, right? Crystal's also saying if you put the fine line chain in a clamshell and put a small crimp on it, it's a great finish. Exactly, Crystal, that's a great way. You can just crimp, put your clamshell on first, crimp that crimp tube on the end, push the clamshell up top, and it's in there, nice and tight. Really great observation. So I hope you guys liked this little quick little wire demo. It was kind of fun. We were a little bit all over the map today with our large hold beads, but I hope you loved it. And I hope that you hang out this weekend and get some fun practice in. You know, not everything you make, you guys, has to be a magnum opus. Sometimes you just need to practice, right? And so, you know, practice, make some components, and it's always a valid exercise. I'm going to move the camera around, and I will say goodbye. So Erica's asking, is a spray or the dip my preference? You know, I use both. When I want a lighter patina, I've been doing a bunch of copper cuffs lately, and I really love the spray, the matte fixative spray, and I've been using those. If I'm doing things for like production line and I want a really, what do I want to say, a super durable coating on them, then I go to Protect-A-Clear because it's a little more, for lack of a better term, industrial. Okay, speaking of industrial, There's the backdrop. I'll be right back in. So I like them both. But for quick hobbyist to get you in the swing of using a patina, the spray fixative is great. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me on this Free Tip Friday. I wanted to say we really, really appreciate your support of our online shop. If you guys didn't support beadshop.com, we couldn't be here demoing and sharing all of this information for you. So we really, really appreciate it. It is my favorite thing to teach, and teaching and sharing wire today was super joyous for me. So thank you so much for tuning in. Now I want to say, if you guys don't have our newsletter, if you're new to our broadcasts, jump over to our website at beadshop.com. I have 2 things coming up this weekend. I'll tell you. I have 2 mixes that we're doing a gift with purchase, and I know you love my bead mixes. They are, if I do say so myself, lovely. And we have plenty to give away. So if you place an order Saturday and or Sunday, there are 2 mixes that they're going to be different. Saturday and Sunday's mixes will be different. Jump over into the newsletter and you'll have all of the information about how to nab those, okay? Also, we have one more thing. Eagle Eye Gita on our bead table page over on Facebook. I posted a picture at work here today. Alfie was helping, of course, and what we were doing is we were bringing back some of our monthly mixes from back in the day. So this weekend, you're going to see the reboot of 4 of the monthly mixes, and you'll see what they are in the newsletter tomorrow. We're actually going to put them in probably tonight, late tonight, but and we'll try and keep those in stock for a bit. So 4 of some of your favorites, I hope, and they'll be up on the website. Thank you for the earrings. Danielle from one of our, Danielle Wicks from our design team gifted me these, which was so generous for these. These are our Mambo earrings that we did a while back. So there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. So grab your newsletters. Check out the giveaways that we've got going on, gift with purchases that we're doing, and have a super creative weekend, you guys. Post on the bead table. I would love to see if you've made components or working with wire or playing around. I'd really, really love to see what you guys are making. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, The Bead Table, jump over to Facebook, search Beadshop, The Bead Table, and it's our kind of our fan group or customer group or whatever you want to call it. And we're almost 5,000 people strong in there. The quality of work is amazing. You guys are all amazing over there, so it's great to have you. So jump over. You have to answer a few little questions to get in, but we'd love to see you over there. So that's it. Thank you again. Thank you for helping us do what we love. We love your notes. We love your posts, your order notes. Everyone really takes that to heart here at Beadshop. So we really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Me and my Alfie mug. We are out to start the weekend. And is somebody coming to say goodbye? Here, Chris just ran in with this bad cat. There he is. There he is. All right. Well, you guys here, let's do an epic pose. There we are. Yeah, that's you on the cup. All right. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I will see you Wednesday for, there you go, for Beadshop Live. Stay creative. See you next week. And happy birthday, Mom. Talk to you soon.